Last but not least, we'll talk about the Works Cited page, formatting it, and creating the entries. The Works Cited page is a page where anything that you needed to cite in text will also have an entry. In the Works Cited page, the entry is more detailed, so that's where readers will go to get more information about the sources that they saw you citing in text. Now, why might readers want to look over the Works Cited page? They may want to find a source and read it too. Maybe it's relevant to their research topic. They may want to check the credibility of the source. They may want to see what all your sources have in common. Sometimes the sources that an author uses can indicate the angle that they're taking on that topic. Now, the first aspect of creating a Works Cited page is formatting it. Your Works Cited page will begin as a new page on a separate page at the end of your research paper. You will center the title Works Cited with no italics, bold, caps, or underlining, just like you did the title of the paper. The citations should be listed in alphabetical order by the author's last name. Double space all of the citations, but don't skip spaces between entries. And finally, use a hanging indent on your citations. Let's quickly format a hanging indent so you can see the process. In your Word document, select all of the entries that you typed up. Once you've selected all of your entries, you can right-click them and then click Paragraph. In the Paragraph pop-up, you'll see the indentation category and an option to pick a special indentation. Choose Hanging and select OK. That will automatically format your entries with hanging indents. As you can see, if one of your entries is only one line long, you won't really be able to see that it has a hanging indent applied to it. But if it's more than one line, you can see it. Now that you know how to format the Works Cited page, let's talk about creating the entries themselves. MLA's system for citing is based on a few guiding principles rather than an extensive list of specific rules. So when you build citations, you should do so according to these core elements, so you don't have to look up specific types of sources. The core elements are listed here in this image. Here's an example of how you would use these core elements to cite a journal article. A journal article has an author, so I'll put the author and then a period. The title of the source would be the title of the article, so I'll put that in quotation marks. The title of the container is the journal that the article was published in. The article, in a sense, is contained within the journal, so the title of the journal goes next, in italics. I don't have other contributors, number 4, so I'm going to skip them and move right on to number 5, the version, which in this case would be the volume, and then number 6, the number, which in this case would be the issue. The publisher of a journal article is the journal itself, so we don't have to repeat that piece of information. We can skip number 7. We'll put the publication date, the year, and then number 9, the location. The location isn't a physical place. It's actually where the reader should go within the source to read that text that you were citing. So if you were citing this particular article in the journal, you're going to give the page range where your readers can find that article. As you can see in this example, the citation for a book is a little bit shorter because we have fewer core elements that we need to include. In this case, we have just the author's name, the title of the source, the publisher, the publication date, and that's it. Now, say you wanted to cite a single chapter in a book. In that case, the chapter name becomes the title of the source, so you would put it before the title of the container. It would be the name of the chapter in quotation marks. Then the title of the container comes next. That's the book, and it goes in italics. The container will always be in italics, the thing that contains the source that you're referencing. The book contains the chapter. An album contains a song. A movie contains a scene, etc. You can see that This guide even shows you the punctuation that you need to use between each of the core elements. However, sometimes your source will have more information that the readers would need to know to find that source. If it's not one of the core elements, it doesn't really make sense to memorize each additional piece of information that a source might have. Instead, use Valencia's library citation page or Purdue OWL to find an example of your type of source. It's also important to cite in your presentations. On your slides, you can include in-text citations where you reference your sources, and then on your last slide, you can include the works cited list. Keep in mind that if you use an image in your presentation, you need to cite that too. You can look up the format on Purdue, depending on what kind of image it is. Or you can use an image that doesn't have copyright restrictions, which means it belongs to the public domain. One place you can go to look for this is the Creative Commons. In summary, we've talked about paper formatting, in-text citations, and works cited page. These three elements are what build up an MLA paper. Keep in mind that you have sources of support as you're working on this. We don't expect you to be perfect at it the first few times you try it. Librarians are happy to help you, your professor is happy to help you, and of course, tutors are here to help you with it as well.